What kind of government works this hard to disarm its own people while failing to protect them from the worst violent crime in the world? In a country where murder, rape, and home invasions are daily news, why does the state fear armed citizens more than it fears armed criminals? I'm Rian Kutsia. I'm back with Jonathan Wright from the Firearms Policy Campaign, and we're going to be discussing these leaked proposals to the Firearms Control Act. Jonathan, welcome and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rian. I will try and maintain my composure while we go through this.
Yeah, it is difficult. I mean, there is something so astronomically in your face wrong with these amendments that I struggle to find the appropriate words to express myself. But anyway, let's start at a point. Let's talk about the principles and objects and maybe the purposes behind this as you experience them.
Yeah, so you mentioned there in the beginning the things behind this amendment, I think, and that's a good place to start. This is not an amendment. It's a new act. It was a new, same as 2021. And fortunately, I was not the only person to realize this. The Institute of Race Relations also did, and they said, put in their press briefing that these are not amendments. This is a new act, gutting it from the inside out. It's almost certainly unconstitutional. If you want a new act, you have to go to Parliament and write a new act. I mean, the Firearms Control Act as it is now, it is quite controlling, yes, but it's not what these or the 2021 or the 2018 or the 2015 amendments were about. When you just look at the number of, I have it open here on my screen, how many clauses are there inside this bill? There's at least 84. The Firearms Control Act has about 160 sections. It means that this amendment amends more than half of the Firearms Control Act. So that's why I say this is not an amendment. This is a new act. Now
it's a rewrite.
Yeah, and a lot of not all of these amendments or changes are like super profound and deep and completely rewrite everything. Quite a lot of them are, like a big one for this bill is weirdly, which I guess I kind of agree with this sentiment, is just rash, making it easier to read in the form of, because at the moment the FCA specifically mentions muzzle loading firearms in individual instances, even though they are treated the same as firearms. So they say firearms and muzzle loading firearms. It's an unnecessary use of words. So they want to just delete all of the references to muzzle loading firearms because they are now included as they're kind of already treated. But anyway, that's like the only thing that one can really agree with in this bill. And yes, starting with the principles and objects. Well, so first of all, we should actually start with the preamble. That's changing. The purposes are changing, and they're inserting the principles and objectives of the act to like clear up any possible confusion that there might be. And how do you sum this all up? This is not control. This is basically borderline prohibition level stuff. It's prohibition in all but name. It's like now the principles and objects want to make it clear that firearm ownership is not a right in South Africa. It's a privilege. But like, where does this come from? Well, the Constitutional Court in the SA Hunters case. As much as I am very critical of how that case was brought to the Constitutional Court, I'm also critical of the court, because in the very first line, they started the whole judgment by saying firearm ownership is not a right, it's not a right, it's a privilege regulated by law. That should never have been in the judgment. It is completely irrelevant. It's obiter dictum. It's not binding. It's persuasive value, but this is something that we have to be careful of because, like, look, we're seeing it come into these so-called amendments. And that's really what they're all about. It's not a right, it's a privilege. Shut up, take the medicine or whatever we're going to give you. Yeah, so I don't really want to go word for word what's going on in these preamble change, purposes, objectives. the sentiment is that this is no longer the Firearms Control Act anymore. This is something different. And the framework has to change to become this very, very prohibitive and restrictive new regime.
So they should maybe change it to the Firearms Prohibition Act after this.
Yeah, I don't know what a good name for it would be, but it's
Oh
the
no,
point is that it's
I
not
have a
the
good
same.
name for it, but YouTube will penalize me if I give that name.
Uh,
So I'm just going to keep it to myself.
I mean, the Firearms
Let's
Control
move
Act at
on.
present, it's arbitrary
Mhm.
throughout, but there is a rhyme and a rhythm to its stupidity. And if you jump through over a few hurdles and through a few hoops, we generally we do have it pretty good in South Africa as far as firearm laws are concerned. It's not like the US or Canada where they're like, your rifle barrel is 1 inch too short. Now it is a short barreled rifle, and therefore you need a $2,000 tax stamp. And this, we can go buy silencers. We don't have to pay $2,000 for the privilege of using a silencer. You just buy it. So they are, yeah. Obviously, we're moving away from that now through these changes.
Yes,
That's
no,
the big thing.
that's definitely the purpose here. Tell us about the part about the blank firearms.
This absolute farce. Yeah, so people will know about, well, have heard about these firearms, these toys, these things, and how stupid they are, and why you should never have one. Because hey, the bad guy will run away if you just point at him and it makes a sound. It's fun. It looks and feels like a real firearm. It's like, yeah, that's not a good thing. It does everything a real firearm does except shoot the moving projectile at very fast speed to unalive you. So when the bad guy sees you pull one of those out, his first thought is going to be, and he's going to, maybe he runs, or maybe he's like, that's a threat on my life. I need to delete it. Now, what are you going to do? Bang, bang, bang. You may as well just scream at the words.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Now, the police have been making a scene about this for a while. They shouldn't. Blanks are, so the issue is not with the blank firearm, although that's how it's framed. The issue lies with the ammunition. Primers are defined as ammunition, and all blanks use primers. Therefore, blanks are ammunition. Like the FCA makes that very clear. But the police have just not enforced it. Ever. You can go into Takealot right now and search blank firing gun, and you will find ammunition for sale from Takealot that you can stick in a courier bag and have sent to you, which just shows the ridiculousness of this whole thing. No, you have to use RAM couriers. You can't send ammunition or guns or regular couriers. But I mean, my point is it's not as flexible as, say, the US, where you can use UPS, I think, to send things around. But the point here is the police have completely neglected and abrogated and abdicated their responsibility, their duties to enforce. Now, this is apparently our fault and Parliament's fault. So they want Parliament to change the law to make it extra illegal and extra clear that blanks are ammunition, even though they are already defined as ammunition.
It's not illegal. It's extra illegal.
It is, and like it's like I get tired thinking about this. Like this is the garbage that we have to deal with and waste our time with because these people are too stupid
it's unreal
to read. Like
let's move on to semi-auto rifles and shotguns.
Yeah.
What do they really have in mind for us there?
Well, they have in mind that you will have nothing in mind, basically. These things are particularly scary for some reason, and they want to limit them to so at the moment you can only get them through Section 16 licenses or a Section 14. We'll talk about those sections in a bit, but the general thing here is semi-automatic long guns, you will be restricted to a maximum of 2. So if you have 13 now, you'll have to get rid of 11 of them, sort of thing. Yeah, you can keep them, but the hurdles and hoops that you have to jump through to get more than 2 are a lot more than they are at present. Yeah, they're coming for those.
And at the same time, they want to drop the competency periods to 5 years for everything.
Yes, yeah, that thing. So there is a logic in that. It's not a good logic because, yeah, but so the reason why we don't have that at the moment is because we did have it until 2006 amendments when they deleted that because it was causing so many problems. The CETAs, SACITA, I think, responsible for administering the competency and proficiency stuff was collapsing under, no, not collapsing, they collapsed. There's a reason why you can't do your competency through SACITA anymore. Be thankful. They wanted to try and get that back not too long ago. Fortunately, Martin Hood and friends all rushed to the front and they put a doorstop there. So you can still go see your private trainers. But point is they changed the law so that competency certificates were no longer fixed for 5 years. They expired with the license that they were linked to, even though some DFOs can't read, because they still, some of them, many of them still do the 5-year thing. But anyway, as things are now, competency period certificates do not expire after 5 years unless they are attached to a license that is expiring in 5 years. Get the picture. They want to bring that back now. And this would be absurd, perhaps if it weren't for the fact that you can see what they're going for through these changes. They want firearm ownership to become even more exceptional than it is now. So the number of firearms goes down, the number of firearm owners goes down. Therefore, suddenly this 5-year period actually maybe makes sense because there's not nearly as much they have to administer and worry about. This was something I kind of noticed with the Firearms Control Act itself. It was meant and designed to make firearm ownership expensive, difficult, and reduce the number of owners. But it backfired because suddenly it actually created through the clubs that you need, people suddenly became very active and involved in sport shooting and things like that. So there was no collapse in the number of firearms as envisaged by their drafters when they wrote the act. But now they are intending to cause that collapse, and with that collapse makes it easier to administer. So suddenly 5 years would make sense for the logic of these changes. Still terrible and stupid, but yeah, there's a logic here.
And they intend to have this consultative forum to
so
to advise firearm owners how to go about life. Yes.
Yeah, it's more about involving the community, the firearm community, in future changes and to the law to make it better and all this lovely fluffy collaboration and stuff. Now, this was in the original 2021 amendments as well. I saw it for what it was. That is, I'll say what I saw in a second. But a lot of people in the firearm community were like, oh, this is a good thing to have in the law. We should have it. I thought like, no, no.
Definitely no.
What this is designed to do is to make the firearm community write the laws for the government, but not the laws that they want. It's a stamp of what would the word be? An illusion, a veneer of legitimacy to say, look, we have this consultative forum, and there was no real pushback sort of thing. Like, obviously, the government is not going to push forward laws and suggestions that make things better and more and broaden ownership access and things like that. They're only going to push for more restrictions. But now they can say, we consulted with people.
Exactly.
I don't see the point of having this consultative forum. Just send an invite to everybody, like now. Just send an invite to say, come and give your comment on things. Why do they need to co-opt? That's the word, co-opt.
Why?
They're trying to co-opt
Exactly.
us.
Why haven't they been involving people since day one when they started talking about these new amendments?
Yeah,
Now all of a
and
sudden they come up with this. It's a scheme.
and the more conservative voices within the farm community, these were the ones that kind of supported or gave positive comments. Not saying they necessarily approved them, but they weren't as skeptical as I would have liked to hear. They were far too approving of it, giving too much grace to the government on this sort of thing. Cannot be trusted. The
Yeah,
government cannot be
well,
trusted.
they certainly do not trust us, not even a little bit. And with us, I mean legal, law-abiding firearm owners in this country, all of us.
That's why
Let's
the
move on
FPC
to
slogan is citizens, not subjects, because the government
not
treats us like
subjects.
subjects, not
Exactly, that's
citizens.
what's happening. Let's talk about the changes that they have in mind for sections 13, 14, and 15.
So it actually goes more than, I think it's all of the sections that are actually affected, but I mean, yes, it's possible to read the entire amendment, but I didn't read that far. Like once you read the first 20 proposed changes, you get the gist of where this is going. But it is important that we know what's in these sections. So obviously this is in line with the further that control rationale and just making everything more expensive and more difficult than it already is, like exponentially so. But a big one is, because first of all, section 14 is the shortest one because they just delete it. Personally, I don't think that's necessarily a huge problem. I think that section 14 should be deleted because it's a completely pointless section. Who uses it?
Okay.
Like no one. Okay, you can literally count them on two hands. I asked CFR once how many licenses are there under this section. They misunderstood the question and they told me how many applications were made in a year, and it was like 10. Like
Okay.
nobody uses this
Under
section.
section 14. Okay.
Yeah. And it's pointless. It's a 2-year license. Like what on earth? Just get dedicated status and problem solve that way. But we'll get to why that would not be possible under these changes anyway, because the lawful use clause is completely redefined. But we'll see exactly in what way in terms of section 13. So it's still the same in that you get to apply for one firearm. Okay, great. You can't really reduce that without deleting the section. But now the requirements for getting a license are astounding. I will quote directly. The registrar may only issue a license under this section to a person after having regard to A, exceptional circumstances set out in sworn affidavit or statement by the person that indicates a real threat to their safety and the level of that threat. So now you have to quantify like in stages. I don't know how do they register this? Is it like this is an A+ threat in my life, or C or D or level 2 or I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
It is so preposterous. It's
Oh, it gets worse. It gets so much worse. B, historic incidents where the safety of the person applying for the license was affected. Dear Mr. Dear CFR, yesterday I was murdered. Please approve my license for a firearm so that I do not get murdered again. It was very unfortunate. It's regrettable that I died, but I prefer not to die again. The geographical distance from the police station to your home.
When
What does that
people
have
get
to do?
murdered,
What
people
does that
get
have to do with
murdered
the
in front
price of
of the police
eggs?
station.
The police station gets robbed. Now
what I wanted
suddenly
to say,
100 meters is supposed to make a difference.
a difference. What I wanted to say is they expect us to wear seatbelts when we drive to try and prevent serious injuries in case of an accident. But when you want a firearm to defend yourself in the country with probably the worst violent crime in the bloody
It is the
world,
worst. Not probably, it is the worst.
then you need to now quantify why you would need a firearm. What is the threat to your life?
Yeah, oh, and now you have to rank it. You have to say what the level of threat is.
It's yeah.
Like,
Anyway, do carry on.
Yeah. D, whether the person applying for a license has access to resources other than a firearm that may be available to them that decrease risks or their vulnerability. What does that have to do with anything?
I have this little piece of hosepipe.
Yeah, that's
You
going to
know,
sting if you hit someone
I
really
can,
hard with it.
I can smack you if you want. I've got that. I wonder if I can add that in my application.
And as if it doesn't get worse, I mean, I'm not done yet. There's still 2 more to go. E, whether there is a likelihood that the exceptional circumstances or any other factor contemplated will continue to exist throughout the validity period of the license. Does this mean that if CFR decides that, yeah, this is a 5-year license, but we think these circumstances are only going to exist for 2 more years, so no, you're not going to get it? Or does it mean that after 2 years, they're just going to say, sorry, we're canceling your license now because, like it's impossible for someone to want you dead for this long or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you already
exactly.
died
Yes.
2 years ago. Like
Yeah.
surely you would have died again by now. Just stay with that ridiculous example for a
Why
ridiculous
are you this
gesture.
paranoid? Seriously.
Stop being so paranoid, said the man living in an ivory tower behind 6-foot walls, security gates, electric fencing, several guard dogs, a private security company with I would say with their own guns, but now I'm not even so sure about that because they also get a bit of attention, although I don't have the notes in front of me about how. But yeah, point made. F, any other factor which the minister may decide. How does
Yeah,
the
I
minister
like that.
decide these things? Like he already lives in like one of the most expensive homes in the country, the most secure places, and he has a convoy that goes around them. Like, what on earth does he know about real life? I mean, sorry,
Exactly.
even if you are a DA minister, yes, I know that you're a little bit more principled, and not prone to riding around in 7-car long blue light brigades, but still, you have to admit that the rules and circumstances of the game are very different for you.
Yep.
There's one other thing in here as well. Ah, yes, it's the lawful use clause. So that is a bit of a farce by itself. A firearm in respect of which a license has been issued in terms of this section may be used where it is safe to use the firearm. Okay, so far so good. And for the purpose for which it was issued. So basically, you can't use your section 13 to go sport shooting anymore. You can only use it to shoot people that are trying to hurt you, if you were lucky enough to convince the registrar that you're deserving of one.
And if the minister doesn't change his mind one morning.
Yeah, well, the
Yes.
minister is now allowed to define entire categories of people who may be allowed like special consideration. So you can wake up and say, yeah, jewelry store owners deserve special consideration. And now suddenly their barrier to getting a license is lower than, say, you or me. Because, yeah, ridiculous. Section 15. Not really any huge changes here, except for the fact they delete the section that says this license is for people who engage in occasional sport or hunting, but do not belong to a club. They delete that bit that says do not belong to a club. Why would they want to do that, do you think?
Well, yes. One wonders.
Oh, I don't think we have to wonder too much. Clearly,
No.
they want to basically make Section 15 into Section 16. Why else would you delete reference that exception?
Yes.
They also want to reduce the number of firearms from 4 to 3. This still includes your section 13. So instead of being able to own 4 firearms now without Section 16, you can only own 3. So yeah, goodbye to that. Nothing else really in there.
No. They also want to change the period for the declaration of unfitness, right?
They do. I just want to check here. Did I miss something out? Section 16.
This
Section
side
15. Yeah, there it
we are
is.
we are lining up for a huge thunderstorm on this side of the world. It
Oh,
is
that's
happening
all too
as we
normal for
speak.
that part of the world, especially this time
Yep.
of year. I thought you were going to say a thunderstorm for over this topic, which yeah, that's almost certainly coming if it hasn't already started to rain.
That is definitely coming.
But yeah, so section 16, as I mentioned, it's now down to you can only get 2 semi-automatic long guns. Motivation stuff. They try to get more specific about that.
We absolutely have to get to this ballistic sampling.
Oh
Yeah.
no. I just had a kidney stone when you said those words.
What is
I
the
just
current backlog on ballistic firearms that they have to do for criminal cases?
Well, it's
And
no longer what it used to be as far as like the whole amnesty farce is concerned. Oh
but they
yeah,
still
here's
have a
something else about Section 16. If a person is
yes.
issued with a license in terms of this section, it will reduce the number of licenses they may hold in terms of the other sections. So
Okay.
like they really try
They
to
work.
bring it down everywhere.
Yeah.
And you can obviously only use it for sport shooting, or you can only use it for the purpose it was written. And I think we've all got the picture there. But yeah, the section 16A also changed, 17 changed, 18 changed, 19 changed, 20 changed. Did they change
All of them
21?
change.
Yep, they do change 21 as well. Anyway, so those
They've been
yeah, I have
they've
nothing
been
more to
very
say.
thorough in applying their thinking to this. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
That's why I
They
say
are
this is not an
working
amendment. It's a new
no,
act.
it's not. It's not. Let's talk about the ballistic sampling. I mean,
Uh,
you're over the kidney stone now, so you can I
no,
take it that
another
now
one.
you
I felt
can.
another one just start to form. I'm gonna have an
I mean, we
aneurysm as
joke
well.
and we joke and we are sarcastic, but the fact of the matter is that this is an extremely concerning matter. And not even every single firearm owner in this country, every single law-abiding citizen in this country
Hmm.
should be very concerned
Yeah.
about this.
And I don't believe that the ANC wrote these. I don't believe they know
Mm.
what's in here. They don't have a fucking clue. This is the CSP and SAPS, ladies and gentlemen. They are doing all of this. But yeah, ballistic sampling. Every time you transfer ownership of a firearm, you must have it ballistically sampled.
Every single time.
Every
Luckily,
single
you're not
time.
going to wait 5 years every time.
Well, imagine what this is going to do to the backlog. It's certainly going to create one if there isn't already one.
I mean,
This was
Jonathan, the system is broken as it is. It's not functioning properly, and they want to add more administrative stuff. I almost said something else to it. And they
uh,
somehow convince themselves that this is a fine thing to do.
these this makes me wonder, like, what are the motivations? I was speaking to someone at Sarkelicha the other day, and he was like, "Oh, why are they doing this? Like, what is the motivation?" I don't know. They don't seem to know. There's no description or discussion documents that have accompanied this leak. Maybe there are, but we haven't seen them. And if they exist, they're almost certainly retarded and terrible and wrong and awful. But like, it's mind-boggling. It is just totally nonsensical. Like, what are they doing? Are they out of ideas? Are they just trying to look busy? Why is that even a problem? Like, you're a government official. You don't have to look busy. You'll still get paid and you'll still be protected and. Just like for once, I wouldn't mind if you as a government official, Mr. CSP people and SAPS in policy making and law side of things, just don't do your jobs. Like, please, just don't. Just like go on holiday like forever and we'll keep
Exactly.
paying your
Well,
salary.
the question for me arises as to why do they keep on coming back to this? It got shot down in 2021. Here we are back again, but
No,
this
no,
time
no,
it's
no. It got shut down in 2015. And in 2018,
got
they pretended it didn't exist and was shut down in
yes,
2021. And
yes.
I guess we're going to do
And
it
here
all
we
over
are
again.
back again. And the thing that really gets to me, Jonathan, you know about that WITS report of 2015
Oh, yes, I know it
that
very well.
found that
Yeah,
it's
I've read
not
it
the
twice.
fire community, it is the police and government that's the problem.
You know,
Okay,
their exact
and
words were the government must stop putting its misplaced and unconditional faith in the Firearms Control Act. It's not designed to solve all these problems. What the hell are you
there we go.
doing? Um,
And
But
I mean, government at the end of the day paid for that, but it didn't say what they wanted it to say. It
yeah, so
basically
they just
put
hid
them
it.
directly under the spotlight. It showed them up to be the problem, and they
Yeah.
have done absolutely nothing about that. They've shoved that thing under a dusty in a dusty corner and put a carpet over it and pretend it never happened. And then they just keep on coming back to the easy targets for this, which is your law-abiding citizens.
Yeah,
Instead of
back in two
addressing their broken system, their broken force, the police force, and addressing the actual criminals.
back in 2000, they said like, yeah, the Firearms Control Act is not going to fix all of these problems that South Africa has, like which was like a
Mm,
really, really bad murder rate, just one of them. Uh, but it's going to be part of a multi-targeted, multidisciplinary approach of various strategies. What other strategies? The only other major criminal justice thing I can think of since then was like some changes to sexual offenses.
mm,
And that was like 2007 or something. Like, there's been nothing. Like, even the Dangerous Weapons Act, what on earth is that law? It means nothing. Like, I don't understand its purpose. The Control of Access to Public Premises and Vehicles Act, not really firearm or security, it is security related, but it's not firearm related per se. That was state of emergency legislation written in 1985. We still have it on the books, and nobody really seems to know what it's actually for, how to use it anymore. But it's still there, it's still a law, it's still criminal offenses. But yeah, so the ballistic sampling, to come back to these list of wish list ideas. Well, actually, before we go back there, Maggie Sotu, Deputy Minister of Police, ANC, 2015, 2016, somewhere there. Once they had the
mm.
whole firearm summit in Parliament, because there were the 2015 amendments, blew up, big storm. There was a formal, like, there were hearings. Martin Hood was there, like the whole community was there. Gun Free South Africa was
I
there. The Red Cross Children's Hospital was there. I still remember Martin Hood's very, very venom-laced words, Dr. Van Us, when he was trying to challenge him on something. And say,
mm.
like, because Us was trying to make emotional appeals to the health and welfare of children, and Martin Hood was like, no, I'm not letting you do that. Stop trying to manipulate us. Anyway, after that, Maggie Sotu, member of the ANC, Deputy Minister of Police, comes out and says, very successful summit. We know that we need to make changes to the Firearms Control Act. We should probably consider lowering the age to 18 from 21. This was an ANC
Mm.
cabinet member who said this. And then we get the 2018 leak and then the 2021 official. This is why I say I'm not convinced that the ANC actually has any cooking clue what's going on here. This is completely run by the bureaucracy. And the bureaucracy is
Mm.
just unfathomably retarded. Incompetent is the word, really. But coming back to, okay, at long last, back to the list of things. Yeah, the ballistic sampling, this is going to collapse the system. As you say, the system doesn't work as it is. Now it's suddenly got to work with all. We saw what happened when they had to ballistically test everything for all the expired license firearms. That was an absolute disaster. A total clustercluck of note.
But
um,
isn't that maybe the plan? Collapse the system even further, then your odds of either renewing your firearm license or getting a new firearm license approved just goes downhill from there.
I don't think these people are capable of thinking that far. Like, it's always a toss up between, is it malice? Is it incompetence? In the case of
Yes.
South Africa, a, it's almost certainly a huge amount of incompetence flavored with a sprinkling of malice on top. I
Shall
don't.
we shall we shall we create a new word and call it malcompetence?
Well, competence, or I don't know what we should do. I mean, it could easily be the other way around. It could be just a huge amount of malice, but with an equal amount of incompetence. People say all the time.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Like, ANC has some really terrible policies in economics, but they're just too incompetent to actually implement them. So thank goodness for that. Um, but you also mentioned declaration of unfitness. Yep, that's
Yes.
changing. The fixed 5-year period, gone. People might think, oh, wonderful, no more declarations of unfitness. I can now fire my gun into the air and nothing will happen to me. Oh no, 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 it's far worse than that. Um, it's a variable. Basically, CFR can decide how long you're going to be unfit for. because it's no longer a fixed 5-year period. You could be unfit for 1 year. I laugh at my own jokes sometimes.
Yeah,
but they can
right.
make it 15 years, 10 years, 25. Like, obviously, there are
Exactly.
rules and principle. Like, you can go in judicial review of these things, but who's got 50, 10, 20,000 rand to go to court
Exactly.
for, because they got declared unfit after they pointed a firearm just because their neighbor said so and the police officer was too incompetent.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump to this appeal board thing that they want to make independent.
Yeah. So I don't understand the point of this really. Like, the appeal board is supposed to be independent already. Like, why do you have to make it extra independent? And by extra, I mean you write the word independent in the actual act if it isn't already there. I mean, I've never had to work with the appeal board stuff, so I don't know too much about it,
It's
what
just
it says.
wordplay.
But
Wordplay.
their offices are in the CFR building. They have been promising. I was in Parliament on the 3rd of September 2017 when the head of the appeals board, whoever that was, told the PPC, we are in the process of looking for new officers for the appeal board because we know we shouldn't be in the same building as CFR. There needs to be the separation between the two. And the Francois Björkman was also there. Like, he was the head of the PPC at the time. He said, yes, you must find new premises. Diane Barnard, all of them, you have to get out of that building. It's not appropriate for you to share office space with them.
Are they still there?
And they're still there. Like, it's 8 years later, and like, why would some words on a page change anything if you can't even honor your own word? And it's but yeah, those are all the big ones that I could really think of. They show up quite early in the text. I mentioned muzzle loading firearms earlier as well. Those aren't really the biggest threat. They do want to make cap and ball revolvers a special class all by themselves, or at least mention them directly, which I don't know why. Like, why are they? They're currently treated as muzzle loaders, aren't they?
As far as I know, yes.
So, like, but they are covered. They weren't covered before 2006, but now they are. So why do we need to make special mention of them? What is the motivation for the super nitty-gritty detail?
We can agree that we come to the end of this discussion with more questions than answers. I did wonder who leaked this document and for what purposes. I wonder if this wasn't leaked by someone in government itself to sort of test the waters.
Yeah, I have my own. I don't actually have my own thoughts really, but I do have suspicions because like 2 days before we found this thing came into our collective knowledge, Jonathan Deal was on Biz News talking to, it wasn't Alec Hogg, it was one of the other journalists. And I asked him afterwards, like, would you mind sharing this with me? He said, I'm kind of sworn to secrecy by the person who shared it with me. I do agree that you should be able to have it because it's a public document, but it was shared with me in confidence by a private person, and I'm bound by that. I'm like, oh no, I fine, I understand. He said, I will, he did say, I will try and see if I can get his consent to share it with you. Well, I'm not sure if it was a he or a she, actually. But then 2 days later, this happened, so no longer necessary.
All right,
but
Jonathan,
why did it happen? That's the question.
Well, yeah, I agree. Let's wrap this up. So for the viewers, if you believe in freedom and safety, that it starts with personal responsibility, hit subscribe, share this episode before it disappears. Every view, every voice, every share keeps the truth alive. Don't wait to be rescued. Get informed, stay trained, be part of the solution. If you appreciated this video, like it and smash that bell icon so that you can get notifications of all our new videos coming up. And if you are interested in any of the loan operator training courses, link in the description below. Check it out. We look forward to seeing you on a range one of these days. Jonathan, I highly appreciate your time. I know you're running a very hectic schedule. Good luck with that. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. This is such a crucial matter. It needs to be talked about a lot.
And people need to be angry, because if this turns into a formal bill, if people want comments, well, if the government wants comments, well, then we have to do what we did in 2021. And how many comments was it per day? I think it was something like 3,000 comments an hour or two per day. I can't remember. It was a lot.
It needs to be more than that. People need to be involved. People need to be aware of this. And as you say, they need to get angry, because this affects all of us. And whether you, even if you do not like firearms, even if you do not want firearms, odds are you are paying, if you've got the money, for an armed security company. It affects that too. So it will affect you. If they implement all of this, it is going to affect you, whether you like it or not. Jonathan, I'm going to end it there. That's it from me. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.